113 years after her first and only voyage, Titanic continues to consistently make waves in the news today. It's the reason for this podcast and why we keep having conversations about this ship. Well, back in 2022, we heard news of a highly detailed scan being done by the Titanic wreckage. That was all over the news. 715,000 images, a 3D digital copy of Titanic as she is today. And of course, images need developing, so we knew there was going to be a little time, a little wait to see any of these scans. And then around May of 2023, the very public leak began. We got to see a couple sweeping animations on the news. The Titanic enthusiast community was all over that. And if you were like me, you wanted more. It was just like, well, we've got these 2 or 3 shots of the ship that are beautiful. What happened with the rest of the scans? What's going on here? And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting the answers to all of these questions. Welcome to Titanic Legacy, the podcast that explores Titanic's lasting impact through conversations with creators, authors, artists, historians, filmmakers, musicians, entrepreneurs, podcasters, and more who continue to keep the ship of dreams legacy not just alive, but thriving through their creative work. Today, we get to add to that list of creators the title of video game developers, though calling it a video game is really shortchanging it and not giving it nearly the credit or flowers it deserves. We will get to that, but first, a couple introductions. I am Paul Carganilla, the host of Titanic Legacy, the podcast, and today I am thrilled and honored to bring you a conversation with the creators of the new sensation among Titanic enthusiasts across the world. But this is just a portal. This is just a step toward their goal. We're going to talk all about it. They have made this new 3-dimensional virtual experience, vROVpilot Titanic. From Magellan Ltd, let's get to know founder and chief executive Richard Parkinson and Marine Superintendent James Holt. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
hey, how are you?
From across the globe. I am out here in smoky Southern California, and may I ask, Richard and James, where you're joining us from?
I'm located in the Channel Islands here in Jersey, not New Jersey. I'm just off the coast of France in a small little island nation called Jersey.
Wow. Are you there as well, James?
No, I'm in the Jewel of the East, Norfolk, in the UK.
Okay. Very cool. Well, as I said in the intro, this is something that's lighting up the Titanic community. And just from talking to you briefly, I know that Titanic is just one of the ways you are launching this new attempt to show the world what you do. Thank you again for taking the time to be here. Just a little quick background on myself. I'm a creative, and I've spent my life exploring the creative process with other individuals, like-minded individuals. I'm also a lifelong Titanic enthusiast, obviously, and I'm gonna approach this conversation kind of backwards as I'm used to doing. I want to start with the amazing experience that you've created, and then kind of zoom out from there and talk about your company and how it started and what y'all are up to. But for anyone out there who hasn't seen or heard of it, can you tell us what is this vROVpilot Titanic?
Okay, I'll go. So look, vROVpilot is our best guess at how a portal should look like for sharing how we work in deep and ultra deep water. We have a team, a very strong team of individuals. We spend a lot of time. We call deep water 3,000 meters and ultra deep water 5,000 meters. So being able to share this data in as close to the resolution that we see it, the better. What we created in the Titanic is what we call a digital twin. It took us a lot of months to process, and the new data there has been reprocessed over the last few months as we call it 2024 data. So So in a nutshell, looking around, Steam seems to be the right platform. 40 gigabytes seems to be about the right level of download. It's relatively low resolution to what we have. We put the bow out there as a beta test, and we're just taking that feedback from enthusiasts, gamers, people that live and breathe the Titanic like yourself, and then we will apply that. It will improve the portal, maybe release a stern sometime in the near future, and then we've got other digital twins that we will start to display through the portal. Yeah.
Amazing. And so, yeah, it's on this platform called Steam, if you aren't a gamer or you aren't aware of it. And it is where a lot of video games are downloaded and played. But like I said, it's not, there are some game element aspects to it, but mostly it's this amazing experience where you can pilot your own ROV around the Titanic scans, these deeply detailed scans. And from what I understand, what's there right now isn't even the full detail that you guys achieved.
No, I mean, James was on the boat when he did the work. He can talk about the resolution that we shot, but I think that's about 10% of the resolution. Yeah.
Incredible. How does with your different roles, obviously, if you visit their website, which is Magellan.gg, there's a great page that shows the team. It's a big circle of, I'm sure, just a portion of the team, but how does it all work together as far as your roles go? You mentioned James is on the boat and you're in the office most of the time. Can you describe your roles in creating this experience?
James, do you want to go with this sort of blow by blow?
Yeah.
Maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, so in that semicircle of people you could see, there was actually the full team. So because we were using two subs at once, SimOps, we were using one sub to go off and do sort of high definition stills and video. And then the other sub at the time was going off and doing the laser scanning and the photogrammetry, gathering all the pictures for the great mosaics we produced. So you got in there, you've got the vessel crew, and then you've got the 12 ROV team, a couple of data processors, and then we have 4 surveyors. And that's enough for us to work 2 subs 24/7.
And how long did this scan take?
It was around 3 weeks. And then we had quite a long transit either end of it. So yeah, but it actually took about 3 weeks. We could have carried on, but you had to draw a line somewhere. We took about 750,000 stills. I mean, the amount of data was incredible. It took absolutely days to data dump it. And yeah, and it's just, the definition was amazing. So, for instance, we found, for example, a gold sovereign, and you can actually zoom in the photo mosaic, and you can read the date off that gold sovereign, just lying on the seabed.
As it has been for over 100
Yeah.
years. That's incredible. So when you say you were in subs, did you go all the way down to where the wreckage was, or would the subs go halfway down and then you have an ROV go the rest of the way? How did that work?
No. Sorry, it's just that I shouldn't have used slang really, but yeah, ROVs. They weren't subs. You don't want to be going down there in a sub.
And why Titanic?
I wanted to. We've been working on this digital twin concept, and it's not just the scans or the lasers or the photogrammetry or the processing. It's positioning. Subsea positioning is super. You have to know exactly where you're taking a photograph from for it to be meaningful to you in any reconstruction. We've been working on this for 5-6 years. It's something we're going to use forward in our forward work with third-party clients as well. And it's almost the largest man-made object that you can't go and visit. It's the most widely known, I think, man-made object that you can't literally go and visit that still exists. So there's a huge barrier to entry. So, if, we got 1,000 times better data than we thought we ever could or would. The weather was good. We had a high level of success and positioning, an excellent team led by James, as always. But it was really it was really that it's a can't go visit. There's only a handful of people have been there, but I think what we've got now adds to that. We haven't been through all of the data. We haven't inspected it all. So that exploration that you can even do on the bow and the beta, if we are able to put the debris survey or larger elements of the debris survey in there, it'll be true exploration. As James says, go and find treasure and read the dates off it.
It is something that I gotta tell you, like, letting my full Titanic nerd flag fly, it's just incredible. It's something that someone like me who, aspired to go down and visit the ship someday until Ocean Gate happened. You wish you had this experience, this capability, this ability to go down and explore it for yourself, and not just go off of the pictures that someone else took or the footage someone else shot and what they wanted to see, but to have the freedom and ability to just explore the shipwreck on your own time, and it's an experience that I gotta tell you, I didn't think that we'd ever get to have, and it came out of nowhere. Like I mentioned in the intro, it was just like we wanted to know what happened to these scans, and then here it is in our hands, and we can actually pilot these ROVs digitally, virtually over Steam. It's really incredible. And you mentioned you have worked together for over 20 years when we were talking earlier, but this technology or this project is only 5 or 6 years old. How did the company how was the company found? Why was it founded? What did you do before this project?
As James would probably be more testing than me, that we both got an oil and gas background, some renewable industry, some submarine telecommunications. But the oil industry crashed. The market stopped for pretty much everything in 2014, 2015. I think we saw a niche in being able to sustain operations, not just one sub, but 2 subs and then a control umbilical down to past 5,000 meters of water. It had been done fleetingly and people had bounced down there, but to be able to sustain operations, and then it's not much good to you unless you can come back with something physically, and sometimes you can't touch stuff, and sometimes you don't want to intervene. So the digital twin was a solution. But also seeing in the dark, James, you want to talk to that a little bit? Just, sometimes you can't see for sediment, and then being able to fly around the digital twin virtually.
Yeah, I think for me, the best bit of my job is actually, as Paul was saying, it's being able to just go look where I want to look. If we see something interesting, we can go and have a look. And our guys specialize in sort of maintaining vis, being very careful not to fluff the seabed up and lose visibility. Especially with all the rusticles we find on these sites, you've only got to give them a slight blast with the thrusters, and then the visibility's gone. And because there's very little current down there, Titanic's got a bit more current than our other sites we visited. But sometimes it will take, several hours for the visibility to become crystal clear again. So our guys are particularly good at that. We call them soft paw pilots. And, I think that's been part of the Magellan success, is our ability to maintain vis, accurate flying, not bashing into anything.
So much. I feel like you're at the mercy of so many elements, that like nature and so many unknowns when you go out to do something like this. For someone like me who has no knowledge of this industry or how any of it works, do you have to get permission? Do you get permits to go out there and do that? Or do you just kind of do your own thing?
Assets like the Titanic lie in international waters. Assets that are protected under international treaties, it's not advisable to touch without permission. So this entire project was done non-intervention, non-touch. So part of having 2 ROVs down there, one filming the other in real time, is to prove that there was no intervention, no damage, no touch. We looked, we didn't touch, and we departed with, well, definitely the best data that there is in the world right now on the Titanic. So in answer to your question, no, you don't need permits to visit and look. But we took a lot of care and put a lot of due diligence into how we were going to approach this. Maybe on some of the pictures you've seen, the ROV doing the scanning doesn't have any arms, doesn't have any manipulators on it. So that it wasn't tempting to actually touch them.
Remove temptation.
Remove temptation. Literally take the arms off the device. But the vehicle doing the filming had arms, manipulators as we call them. So should there have been a dead sub scenario, so we lose power to the submersible, there was an ROV there to pull the ROV away and make sure there was no intervention or touch during the whole mapping process.
Is it, for lack of better words, crowded out there, or are you all by yourself?
James, how many boats did you see? You had the Fifth Fleet come by, right? Is that right at one point?
Yeah. Saw the US Navy come by, and no torpedoes launched, and that was it. Super quiet out there. It's not, well, out of sight anyway. Of course, there's probably plenty of traffic going by 20, 30 miles away, but from on the deck, you couldn't, there's not a lot of traffic.
We see on photos and, of course, on your scans, all the memorial plaques and things that have been left on the wreckage. And there has been, since your scans, obviously, there's the rail that's been knocked away, and people, just kind of forming their own hypotheses again about who might have knocked that down. So it is a question that crosses my mind as far as, like, when you go out there, are you waiting in line? It's not like the top of Mount Everest where there's just a line of tourists. It's pretty bleak, and pretty, I guess seeing the Navy go by is kind of exciting. Did you get? Go ahead.
So I just wanted to say on the rail, of course. I mean, it could easily have as well just fallen off. I mean, we knew it was there when we left, obviously, because we had video and footage and everything else. But the site is corroding rapidly. There's a lot of weight on everything with those rusticles. I mean, when you actually pick a rusticle up in your hand, it's amazing that it's almost like picking up a sort of a gold weight to it. It's it's a living organism, and all of that weight is slowly crumbling the site down more and more. So I think that saying it'd been knocked off, it could easily have, because it was laying out already, it could easily have fallen out underneath its own weight, because these rusticles, even though growing very slowly, are dragging it all down. It is slowly crumbling.
Yeah, it's on our scan. It's on our scans. It was there when we left. Unfortunately,
That's right.
It's not linear. The degradation of steel ships isn't linear. So it will start to move in quite significant steps, I think, in the coming years. It would be nice to go back every several years and document that, but it's a big budget to get out there. So in answer to your question, no, it's not like Everest. There's no Sherpas to take you there and back. You've got to finance yourself, get a boat, go out there and do something meaningful.
I think the thing that I found a bit disappointing was the amount of modern day debris I observed down there. There was Pepsi cans, there was ballast bags and lumps of steel which were used as drop weights by visits by submersibles. Modern day wine bottles, and there was quite a bit of that spread around the actual site, which was a bit of a shame to see, really.
Yeah. 21st century litter is ridiculous to be on site, really. The only possible there was dumped over the side of the ships that have been there before us.
Wow, I never thought about that before. That is sad and fascinating. You mentioned you chose Titanic because it is, one of the most widely known sites. But when you were there, did you mentioned you spent a few weeks there. Was there ever any feeling of revenance, like this is special place on Earth, or something happened here? Are there echoes of energy in the area that you felt, or was it just all business for you?
It's definitely got an aura. I'm not a superstitious kind of guy at all, but yeah, it's definitely got an aura. It's yeah, the Titanic curse, as they say. We had a few technical issues which we put down to that. But yeah, no, it's definitely got an aura. You go to some places, don't you, and you get a feel, even though you're not actually down there, just being in the location.
Well, that's where a lot of the terror and heartbreak occurred, was on the surface. So this is just, as you mentioned, a gateway or a stepping stone or a learning experience for you. What is in the future with the vROV program?
The vROVpilot program. It's a portal. We see it as a portal. Steam, we think, is a great platform because it seems to be very robust. People can access it, and it's, a price point that people can make. We're taking all that feedback on board. Incredible amount of positive feedback. You may notice at the minute, and the ROVs don't move as ROVs should. ROVs are able to move linearly and laterally. So they're able to look at an object at the minute we have to turn and drive forward. So adding some functionality that makes it more realistic in the ROV. Maybe we've added the water column, the noise in the water back in, to make it slightly more realistic, and maybe there's the ability to turn that off so you can just see the raw data for real enthusiasts. And then there's a bunch of other things that I can't really reel off the top of my head, but this, we're taking this seriously. It's a beta test. We'll put the stern in there, and then when we launch, the price point will go up, the resolution will go up probably, and then it's if and when the debris field goes in. We can't afford to finance this ourselves, so we hope there's some significant revenues coming in to keep pushing it forward. Yeah,
Well, I'm looking forward to the debris fields coming out.
Yeah,
That was fascinating. I think that the bow section, I think everybody pretty much knows it's been photographed to death. The debris field and stern section, not so much. So yeah, both of those are going to be exciting to see.
Photographed to death, maybe, but it is still so exciting to be able to explore on your own without having to, be at the whim or will of anyone else, any tag-alongs with the other agenda. Just being able to explore is just so neat. And I gotta ask, for other Mac users like myself, right now it is solely on the Windows platform. Are there plans for it to make the jump to Mac as well?
That's the most question. I'm a Mac person, so yeah, it needs to be on Mac. There's some complexities in that. PC is more accessible, but that is the intention. Maybe not for the beta version, but for the alpha. When it becomes a full version. How many hours have you spent flying on it yourself? Have you managed to gain a PC and take your time on it?
I have only a bite size of actually piloting my own, but I have enjoyed, there are numerous YouTube videos of other Titanic enthusiasts exploring and showing all the features as well, that I actually got to watch day one. This dropped, I believe, December 31st. And so there's already a considerable amount. If you are out there and you're listening to this interview and you want to see it in action, just hop over to YouTube and search. Our friends at the Steam and Splendor Network did a great video on it. And I'm of course just looking forward to everything that is coming in the future. Do you have like a bucket list? Obviously Titanic would be my bucket list thing if I were doing this kind of work, but are there other sites that you hope to someday go and explore with your scanners?
Yeah, we've already got some. There's some more in process, but I think there's a lot of excitement about over geological features in really deep water as well that we can share, and that's perhaps more exciting. Is sort of the natural phenomena that's there. Some of the sea creatures that James's the guys and James's photographed while we've been down there are quite incredible. The sort of lightless creatures, yeah. But I think, yeah. In answer, yes, there is a bucket list. I can't share it with you. It's ongoing, but the geological features and being able to give the transparency through to those geological features and how we're interacting with them, if we're interacting with them, that for us is going to be exciting because it's a community build. That's the hope anyway.
I know for you two, this is a professional thing. It's work, but have there been great positive experiences that come out of it that just make it so much more personally fulfilling to you?
James, have you got any from the rotation, from the actual drive? And the ceremony crossings, I always think are quite incredible when you're crossing the equator and the sort of the experiences there. What's your takeaways?
Yeah, I think our ceremony on site as well, that was quite poignant, more poignant than I thought it would be. I thought at the time it was a bit of a cliche, but once we actually did it, I realised it was how important it was to us. I'm looking forward to sharing more of our sites in the future. And we're just carrying on, aren't we? I mean, we're in deep water ops at the moment.
Yep.
With the ship, so we're ongoing.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time out to chat with us. I know you've got a lot of work to do, and you're in the middle of your work day out there. Is there any last thoughts that you'd like to leave with our listeners today?
I'd just like to thank everybody for all their positive comments. I think we're in nearly the top 1,000 downloads now on Steam for 120 million users or something. It's quite incredible. So only been out 2 weeks. So thanks for that positivity. It is commercial. We try to put a price tag on that's there. So the more the people that download it, the faster we can move. That's probably the best thing to leave people with. But it's not going to make money. It might wash its face. That's pretty much where we're coming from here. Yeah,
I think from my side, I'm looking forward to seeing when people are actually using vROV, what they find, because we were covering a huge area, and even though we're all staring at the screens, 24/7, there's going to be things that have been missed, which will be discovered on this data by everybody at home, and I find that quite exciting.
Yep.
There was another Titanic expedition that just went out recently. They did RMS Titanic Inc. did some scans and found the Diana statue. And since that was after you guys, we're still going to be able to see it. I mean, they didn't recover it or anything, but that's in the debris field, and we'll be able to explore for ourselves and try to find that. And again, this is an experience that was a surprise to me, and I think a lot of people in the Titanic community, and I am just so grateful for it. And I think when you watch these, I don't know how much time you've had to watch any of these YouTube videos of Titanic enthusiasts enjoying the experience, but it's been overwhelmingly positive, I've seen, and I just thank you for creating this. And I know that it wasn't like you didn't do it as a gift to people who are passionate about Titanic, but it is something that we will treasure, I'm sure, for years. And as you continue to release new features and updates and more of the wreckage, I can foresee many hours in the future being spent exploring. And we just appreciate your work so much. And I appreciate your time again for taking the time to be here and talk to us about it. It's not, like I mentioned, I know nothing about your world of exploration, but the fact that you have created this experience is something that we appreciate. And so thank you both.
Thank you. Just one last thing is, not many people understand what we do, even that it's an industry or a career that you can go into. If we can just encourage, a handful of people to get involved in our industry and want to explore the seabed through our remotely operated vehicles, that this is an entire industry. There's very few people that do what we do, certainly at the depths and sustainable operations. But, if we can encourage people into this, it's an industry, an interesting industry where you work away from home, you work on a boat, but it's highly rewarding, highly rewarding.
if there's anyone out there who had no idea this industry existed or doesn't know about it, what would be the first step if somebody was like, yeah, I want to try and get into that?
I mean, you could drop us an email. We can put you in the right direction. Any engineering or maritime-based experience. We don't just recruit graduates. We recruit from all walks of life, and a passion and interest in getting involved in this, and a determination. And yeah, drop us a CV on our recruitment email address on our website. We'll happily look through those.
And that website is Magellan.gg again. On Steam, it's vROVpilot Titanic. On Instagram, you can follow them at Magellan_GG. And I encourage you to give them a follow. That is how I actually got in touch with them today. I just, on Instagram, and I reached out and they said, yeah, we'd love to come on the show. So thank you both again. And of course, if you were entertained by this conversation, please be sure to subscribe, rate, leave a positive review on your favorite podcast platform. This is an independent podcast, and I produce the show for the love of Titanic with no financial incentives. So a really awesome, free, easy way for you to support the show is by leaving us a positive rating on whatever platform you're enjoying it on. I want to say thank you again to our guests, Richard Parkinson and James Holt. This was such a pleasure, honor to meet you and chat about this experience you've created. Thank you to everyone who has been tuning in from home. And until next episode, seize the day, follow your heart's fire, and make each day count. Bye, everybody.